Hello, my name is Elena Volkova. I'm a technical lead in this team, and I will show you the improvements related to handling huge console output. Here I have a simple model that is printing a very huge console output, and it covers both a huge number of lines printed to console and also very long lines in the console. Now I will build and we will observe a huge console output here. So the output is a little bit dummy. It's not a real compilation, but it is printing lots of lines into the console. So now if we scroll up, we can see that the output is truncated. This for UML development console, this is controlled in preferences. And if we search here for the preferences that that have impact on console, we can see that there are actually two places where this can be controlled. And our UML development console is controlled by the preferences under Run Debug. So this is the preference page, and these are the settings. And by default, the checkbox is set to limit console output. So if we want unlimited output, we can use uncheck it. So now I will apply and build again. And now if we scroll to top, we see that the output is complete. It was not truncated. So this preference, it also has the console buffer size property that can be controlled. And in some cases, maybe it is better to use that buffer size limit. We must be careful in checking this checkbox because in that case, there is no limit to console output, and it may occupy lots of memory in that case. So far I will keep this option. We have improved our documentation, and there is an article on the RTist user's guide under the building UML development console. So here this preferences are described, and the fact that Run Debug console preferences are considered for our UML development console. Apart from the very huge number of lines, there can be also long lines in the console. So before we used to truncate those lines by default and insert a new line symbol. Now we have removed this default behavior, and by default long lines are not splitted into several lines because now the Eclipse console is handling long lines in a good way. There is also a word wrap preference which can be used to view everything in one screen. Now by default we do not split such long lines into shorter lines by inserting a new line character. But still the preference is available, and if for some reason you want that functionality to be on, then it is possible to change in Eclipse INI to add this preference. So it is called like this, IBMX tools model compiler console line limit. So before we used to use this 500 as the default. So now the default, by default, it's not applied. But if you want to bring it back, then this is the property that must be specified in VM args section in Eclipse INI. So now I will just save this and show how it will look like. To show this, I will need to restart my RTist instance. So while it is restarting, I would like to mention that this property has effect only to the UI, to Eclipse console output. So if you will run model compiler from command line, then this property will not have any effect on the console output. So it has effect only to UML development console in Eclipse UI. So now let's try to build again and see how it will look like. Yes, so this is how it looks like when the lines are split into several lines. So I have selected now 500. It can be, and we see that these lines are split by 500 characters, assuming that there are words in the output. So it will split the line only at the white space position and not in the middle of the word. But by default, this will not be applied because in some cases this is not needed and may even make the console output look worse than it can be.